So my people, my people, my people, I am live again. And Christ is God said, let them come and I am ready to slaughter some donkeys. The Dawa donkeys, man. So I wasn't gonna make a video today. I was gonna just chill out today. But I was watching soccer film, and I saw something, and I said to myself, I said, wow, you know, this Muslim guy was on soccer film, and he make a statement, and I it's sad. Like, to be real with you, these Muslims are so sad. They're so desperate and sad. It's ridiculous how desperate and sad they are. God bless you, Dragon. Hello, Robert. RJ is here, and Christ is God. He's here. Anyone who is here, God bless you all. So it's so funny what the guy says. So we're gonna get into it real quick today because this is supposed to be something quick. So we're gonna get into it quick. So let's share what this guy said. But before we get into all that, I want to say all praises to the triune God, the God who is above all gods, the God who gives us wisdom to decipher things and to make sense of sensible things and to make nonsense of things that are nonsense. And as far as I'm concerned, Islam is nothing but pure nonsense. And so let's get into it. We're going to have a little fun, man. This guy is the most naive guy I've seen in a long time. But if you look at his face, you could tell that he is naive. Just looking at him, you could tell that he's a naive guy. And if you notice what he says in the video here, if you notice what he says here, let me see if I can. Okay. Shamsi wannabe get caught misquoting the Bible. And you could tell that he is trying to imitate somebody. And I think he watched a lot of Zakir Naik videos, Ahmed Deedat video, and this guy from Africa, from Kenya. I can't remember what his name is. He's a sheikh. His videos, because you see he have the same attitude. He behave in the same way. So we're gonna start from like about what is 12 minute 13 second. What we're gonna see, the arrogance of this little clown. You know, I don't want to be too hard on him because because he seems to be so naive and stupid, and sometimes, you know, we can't be too hard on stupidity. But look at this. So we are sharing.
Don't just open your mouth if you don't know if you don't know him, please.
He said, don't just open your mouth if you don't know your Bible. Come on, please. Appealing to the audience. That sound like who? Zakir Naik, right? And the guy from Ahmed Deedat, and also the guy from Kenya. Can't remember what his name is. Now listen.
Misquote. Don't misquote.
I'm here to teach you your book. You notice that arrogance, Zakir Naik, Ahmed Deedat, and the idiot from Kenya.
You do nothing but misquote. Don't misquote. Show it. Show it. Open it.
Why don't you want to talk about the Quran?
So the lady is making a good statement. They don't want to talk about the Quran. Muslims are coward. If a Muslim come to talk about the Bible to me, it's my pleasure. It's the biggest pleasure talking about the Bible. If a Muslim want to talk about the Bible anytime, you know, it's my biggest pleasure. And what I don't understand about the Bible, whatever I'm not deep into, I could find the information elsewhere, because we are blessed with people, you know, that have that kind of deep knowledge. You know, we could go to our brother Sam Shamon, because you know, he knows a lot by the grace of God and the Holy Spirit of God. He knows a lot of things. And you know, so we could find resources, and I say, hey, we get back to you with this. But they don't. They ate talking about their Quran. When they get so defensive, you know, when they're talking about their Quran, it's crazy.
Talk about the Quran, so they talk about the Bible.
Yeah.
The question.
No, come on, go ahead. Go ahead.
Jesus preached.
Show it in the Bible. Show.
So he said Jesus preached 8. Jesus who says, love your enemies and pray for them, those who persecute you. He didn't even say pray for them. He said pray for those who persecute you. He preached hatred. So Jesus who says love your enemies in Matthew 5 verse 44 to 45, you could find that. Jesus who says do unto others as you like them to do unto you, Matthew 7 verse 12, preach hatred. And I just want you guys to zoom in on something this little clown say. I can call him a clown because he's a clown, a little stupid boy. You know, I want you to zoom in on something that this little stupid boy said. Just zoom in on it.
Show it in the Bible, then we can talk.
Okay, let me
What
see.
they do, because they don't want to talk about the Quran, they talk about the Bible. The question is, does Allah teach you to love your enemies?
So the lady is asked the question, does Allah teach Muslims to love their enemies? We know that Jesus said, love your enemies. We know that. We know that. As I said before, Matthew 5, verse 44 to 45, Jesus is saying, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Because if you love only, I'm paraphrasing this part, if you love only those who love you, you are just like everybody else, like anybody else. Literally, that's what he was telling you. But where can you find that kind of rhetoric in Islam? You cannot find that rhetoric in Islam at all, because Islam teaches you to be wicked to your enemies. Matter of fact, Muhammad says when you meet the Christian and the Jews on the way, you must drive them to the narrowest part of the road. When you meet them on the road, you drive them to the narrowest part of the road. This is what Islam teaches. So the question goes out to this little naive boy. Where does Islam teach you to love your enemies? Cannot find it. And what he want to do, he want to keep his mind talking about Jesus teach hatred, teach that Jesus teach hatred. And look how far his little stupid mind is going to lead him. How dumb he is, really. I can't help myself calling these people dumb. I really can't.
You know what? Which group are you talking about? What group? You want to join?
The Quran,
but I-
the
it's free.
Nah, the Quran
no,
doesn't,
don't tell me.
Allah doesn't have a relationship with people, they're slaves. We are children of God, and we have a
You are the
relationship.
slave of God.
I am.
Notice he switched it back. He said Jesus teach to hatred. Then he says you are the slave of God. You are the slave of God. And it's so crazy that he believes that saying that you are the slave of God is, I don't know where he was trying to go with that. I really don't. I don't know where he was trying to go. Where his mind was trying to lead him. It's just ridiculous. So he said, Jesus said that you are, so you are the slave of God. First, what did he say? Jesus teach hatred. And when they said, go ahead, find it. Where, find it. Then he came back, you are the slave of God. Because let me tell you what's going on in their head, man. You ever make a one-pot meal? have you ever make a one-pot meal where you are putting everything in there? You're putting the chicken. You're putting the goat meat. You put something like a goulash or a what they call it here in America. I don't even know what the name they call it here in America. And you're just putting everything into the pot and stirring the pot up. That's how their brain operate. Their brain is just in such a disorganized way that they cannot stay on task. They cannot. Islam give them attention deficit disorder, ADHD. If he says Jesus teach hatred, and then you're a slave of God, and I'm like, wow, where? Why did you switch from that to something else?
No.
Okay, so you are a sheep. This is the part that made me so. He said you're a slave of God. So Jesus teach hatred. You're a slave of God, and you're a sheep. So what is Muslim called? They're called Abduls. Abdullah, Ibn Masud, Abdullah this, Abdullah that, Abdullah all over the place. What it mean? Slave of Allah, right? So is it hatred to call a Muslim slave of Allah? Because he said Jesus teaches hatred, and they said where? And he says, Jesus call you the Bible call you a slave. So to call someone a slave, that means it's hatred. Is that hatred? Then he said, Jesus call you a sheep. And listen what he's gonna say.
Sheep is not a slave.
And the Bible says
Sheep is not a slave.
the Bible says
You said slave.
Then he said, sheep and slave, which one is worse? Did you hear him? Listen to him keenly. The guy here, his voice is very loud, like mine. So it's hard to hear what he's saying because he have a softer voice. But he says, slave or sheep, which one is worse? The Muslim actually say, slave or sheep, which one is worse? And listen to him.
Slave.
You are the slave as well.
Come on, show it to me.
Romans
You've been looking.
Jesus says that
I'm
I
waiting.
am the good shepherd, and the
Romans
shepherd puts
6,
his life
6.
on the
For
life
his
for his
sheep.
sheep.
Yeah, good shepherd give his life for his sheep.
Which proves again that
Slaves
Jesus
of
was
God.
crucified.
So the point the lady make is so is good, because Jesus called us his sheep, and he said, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd gave his life for the sheep. Literally, a shepherd who have sheep, like a shepherd, a real shepherd with sheep, like the animal sheep, would not die for the sheep, because the sheep is not as valuable as the shepherd. If a shepherd, a real shepherd, like who have the animal called sheep, would not die for his sheep. His sheep is his property. He may protect his sheep, and he might end up dying in the case of protecting his property, but he would not purposely lay down his life for the sheep. No, he wouldn't. Because what? If I was a shepherd, I would not die for the animal. I would not purposely die for my animal. My animal is to sustain my life. So why would I give up my life for my something that I use to sustain my life? No, that would be stupid. But Jesus is telling us the value that he put on us is that he is the good shepherd, better than all shepherds. And he laid down his life for the sheep. Literally, when we go to the Bible, Jesus actually says that no one take his life from him. No one take his life from him. He lay it down so that he will take it up again. So what is that saying to you? He's telling you that he valued the sheep so much. So when he said Jesus call you a sheep, would Jesus call you a sheep? Is that a bad thing? And then he said a sheep is worse than a slave. How is a sheep worse than a slave? In Islam, it teaches that a free man should not be killed for a slave. Islam teaches that a free man should not be killed for a slave. And let me see if I can find this hadith where a free man should not be killed for a slave. So how is it, if Jesus is telling you he laid down his his life for the sheep, if Jesus is telling you that he laid down his life for his sheep, how is it equal to a Muslim being called a slave of Allah? It's not. It's not the same. It's not the same. And being called a slave is worse than Jesus calling us his sheep, because Jesus is telling us that he will die for his sheep. But in Islam, a free man should not be killed for a slave. Let me show you. Sorry. Let's show you. So in Islam, we know that a free man in Islam, according to Islamic narrative, a free man is not supposed to be killed for a slave. Muhammad actually give a verse, Surah 2, verse 178, that actually says, in retaliation, when you're retaliating, in those days, people used to retaliate. If you hurt someone from another tribe, the other tribe come and they retaliate. Muhammad told them when they're doing retaliation, they must kill a free man for a free man, a slave for a slave, and a woman for a woman. So let me show you that surah. We already gone through it. Guys could look at it. Look to my things on slavery, and you will see that verse is already mentioned. So it's surah 2, verse 178. Let me show you this. A lot of these, here we go. So let's look at it. I was trying to find some literature that I have on it, but I couldn't find it. But this will suffice just to show you the mindset that a slave is not equal to a free man in Islam. We could see that. Look at this. This is Surah 2, verse 178. O believer, the law of retaliation is set for you in case of murder. A free man for a free man, a slave for a slave, a female for a female. And guess what was happening? Guess what was happening at the time? It was tribes feuding, and there was a bigger tribe who says, hey, anytime you kill a slave from us, we are going to kill a free man. And anytime you kill a woman, we are going to kill a man. And anytime you kill one man, we are going to kill two men. And Muhammad's wisdom is this. No, don't do that. If they kill a free man, then you kill a free man. If they kill a slave, then you kill a slave. If they kill a female, then you kill a female. Literally, that's what he says. So if they kill a slave, you kill a free male, a slave. A slave. So a master, a free man could do the murder, but then a slave end up dying. A free man could do the murder. Ibn Kathir came later and tried to water this down. Ibn Kathir came in the 1400s and he tried to water it down and tried to make tafsir to make it sound like it was something different. But if you look at earlier before Ibn Kathir, people from the 700s, you will see that no, it actually meant that a master should not be killed for killing a slave. So it literally, he was saying that Muhammad was saying, kill a slave from one tribe when a slave from another tribe is killed, regardless if of who the murderer is. Retaliation. Stupidness. So you see that? Regardless of who the murderer is. But Ibn Kathir came later and he, with damage control mode, and he wanted to lessen this and make it look like, oh, that's not what was being said. But if you look at all the earlier scholars and stuff before Ibn Kathir, they actually says that's what it is all about. But the funny thing about this little clown, they say Shamshi wannabe, and we're going to show you something that Shamshi says, and you will see the stupidity. But notice the stupidity that these people are teaching us. Here he is. He may be Britain born, and he may not even be Britain born. But what I'm trying to say, that these people come from other countries, and they come into the West, or they come into the United States, just like I come from another country, and I came into the United States. But I don't come here to brainwash the people in the United States. I come here to build the United States. I come here to build myself and at the same time offer a service to the United States. But what these idiots come for, they come in here to brainwash the people of the United States and lie against them. Just like Uthman ibn Farouk making movie scenes where he claimed he was stabbed so that people should look down on the citizens of the United States as if they are people attacking Muslims. I tell you, Uthman should go to jail for that. I'm one who believes that Uthman, they should seek to prosecute Uthman for that, because that's something that he could be charged for, inducing panic. Because guess what? When you say as a Muslim that someone stabbed you when you were not stabbed, that's inducing panic. And that could have caused somebody to lose their life, because you see how these Muslims behave. But they come here to lie to us. So listen to this little clown.
Slaves of God. Look here. Look, the verses. But now that you have been set.
Okay, which verse? Which verse?
Romans 6:22.
Romans 6:22. Okay, that's good.
They don't know their Bible.
They don't know.
And do you hear him? They don't know their Bible. He Googled something. Look how long he was on the phone. Do you see? So he Googled something, and all you got to do nowadays is just go on the Google search engine and you put, like right now I'm going to do it, slave of God, and then you put Bible beside it. And guess what comes up? All the verses. Look at it. If you guys think I'm lying, this Google prophet, this Google boy acting like he knows what he's talking about. Look at this, my people. And when you are dealing with them, don't be intimidated. Don't let them believe that they know nothing about your Bible. They don't know. They are Google idiots. Look at this. I just put that. What did I put? Look at what I put in. Can you see it right here? This is what I put in. Slave of God. And that's all I put in. And watch what happened. Romans 6:15. And that's what the one he quoted. And you could see all this stuff. So all you got to do is open it up, and it tells you all the Bible verses that mention slave of God. But you must remember the word that is used for slave also can mean servant. Because let me show you something that is damaging to this idiotic Muslim. Let's show you something. This is what Jesus says. Look what Jesus says. So they are just Google people, and that's what they do. Oh, let me teach you your Bible. You don't know your Bible. Watch this. Look what Jesus says. Look what Jesus said to us. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I call you friends, for everything that I learned from my Father, I have made known to you. So he said to his disciples, he said that to his disciple, and then when he was leaving, he said to his disciple, go make disciples of all nations. So he's actually telling them, go make friends. Go make friends of all nations. Get me more friends. Literally, that's what he was telling them. Because everything he told them, they were supposed to tell. Notice what he says. Let me show you. That's why the Bible is God's word, man. Watch this. Notice the reason. Sorry. TTHEW 28. Verse 18. Notice the reason here. Look how beautiful the Bible is. Nothing like the stupid Quran talking about hands, run out of the way, Solomon will run over you. Look at this. Notice right here. Pay attention to this. I call you friends. Why? Why he call you friends? Listen why he call you friends. For everything I learned from my Father, I have made known to you. Watch this. Pay attention to that, because that's important. I call you friends because everything I learned from my Father, I've made known to you. But when you go to Matthew 28, what he tells them to do? Then Jesus came and said to them, all authority. I should put 19 on there, sorry. Verse 19. 18, 19. 18 to 19. That's when you get the full understanding of it. But look at this, my friends. Then Jesus came and said unto them, all authority in heaven and earth has been given to me. Therefore, go and make disciples of our nation. So you go and make disciples of our nation, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Holy Spirit. And verse 20, which should be on there, sorry. You know, that's one thing I need to start learning. The Bible, how to recite the Bible straightforward. I'm working on it. But look what verse 20 say. Teaching them everything that I have commanded you. Do you remember what this says up here? Why he called them friends? I call you friends, for everything that I learned from my Father, I have made known to you. And down here, he's telling them to teaching them to obey everything I commanded you. That means he's telling them, teach everything that I tell to you. So Jesus is telling them, go make friends. A disciple is a friend of Jesus. So even though we are called servant by what we do, we are friends of Christ. And we are not only friends of Christ, we are also brother of Christ. Brothers and sisters of Christ. You know why we know that? Let me show you why. Let me show you why we are also brothers of Christ. Let me show you. I'm just going to read that for you guys. Matthew 12. What did Jesus say in Matthew 12? Verse, I think that's verse 50. If I'm reading it, this is kind of hard to pick. Obey. The one who obey my heavenly Father's will is my brother and my sister and my mother. Do you see that? The close relationship that Jesus have with us. The one who obey my Father's will is my brother and my sister. So at the end of the day, a Muslim can never, ever, 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 ever have the relationship that we have with God, because their God is not our God. Their God is not our God at all. And they can never have the kind of relationship that we have with our God. Because their God is not that kind of God. Their God is a slave master. Their God is a slave master who only loves them because of what they do. You can find nowhere in the Quran where it says Allah love the Muslims just because he loved the Muslims. No. Allah only loves those who first love him. Allah only loves those who first love him. If you don't love Allah, Allah don't love you. You can't find nowhere in the Quran where it says Allah first love them. So you see what Jesus says? For whoever does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother and my sister. You don't have that kind of relationship. Muslims and Muslims are brothers. But who is their father? How did they become brothers? A Muslim call another Muslim their brother. But how did they become brother? How did they become brother? That's the key thing. Who fathered them? Who is fathering them? We're not talking about, oh, it's a secular thing. So in a secular world, they have brotherhoods. They have different brotherhoods in secular world. But when it comes to God and a Muslim, when it comes to God, Abraham and Lot, even though Abraham and Lot were brothers, you know, in different ways. Moses and Aaron were brothers in two ways. They were brother in biological brothers, but they were also brother in God, because God was their father. The book of the Torah teaches that God is a father, and God is a father to the Israelites. So they were brothers in that way. You don't see that kind of brotherhood in Islam, no way, because Islam is not that kind of religion. Allah is a father to no one in no way, no sense, whether it is figurative or it no way and no way. Allah can be a father to no one. Allah is a slave master. But let's get back to the video, because we want to show you guys how narrow-minded these little clowns are. Abdul's very narrow-minded. Very narrow-minded people. I've never. It's just like they gave up their brain to become Muslim. This is literally, that's what I feel like happened to them. Like let me forget that I have a brain, and then I will become a Muslim. Listen to him.
Yes.
Do you hear what the lady asked him?
Yes.
Do you hear what the lady asked him? Come back again. That lady strike him like a MMA fighter, like Israel Adesanya. I hope you don't get striked.
6:22.
Romans 6:22. Okay, that's good.
They
don't know their Bible.
So
They don't know. Let me give you the verse. You said give me the verse.
why don't you
Romans
recommend
Let me give you the verse.
That's Allah
Let me
teaching
give you
to
the
love your
verse.
enemy.
Yes.
He says, Allah teach him to love his enemy. Where? Where? Where does Allah, what verse in the Quran it teaches that you can love your enemy? Let me show you something from the Quran that the Quran even teach you not to have proper love for your mother and your father. The Quran is a two-mouthed book, a dangerous two-mouthed book. And let me show you, the Quran teach you not to even have love, real, genuine love for your mother and your father. Let me show you. The Quran is a book of devil, man. A book of devil. A double-mouthed book from the devil. Two mouth. So look at this. Even though this is not the best of the translation, and I will show you another translation, but let's look at this. Oh, this is a dangerous book, man. Dangerous book. Dangerous book. Let me show you. This is Surah 58, verse 22. Quran 58, verse 22. You will never find a people who truly believe in Allah and the last day loyal to those who defy Allah and his messenger. If you notice, it says loyal here. So you won't be loyal to your parents. If your parents defy Allah, say your parents don't believe that Allah is God or Muhammad is a messenger, you're not loyal. You don't have to be loyal to your parents. Notice what it says. Even if it were their parents, children, sibling. Oh, you don't have to be loyal to your children, your sibling, your extended family. But look at it. Let's go back a little bit. It's not loyal. Let's look at this. Let's look at somewhere else. Look what this says. You will never find a people who believe in Allah and the last day having affection. What affection mean? Love. So you don't have to love your mother and your father. Even if they were their fathers and their sons and their brothers and their kindred. So don't love your father. But this Muslim is telling you you should love your enemy. Can you imagine that? If you don't have affection, love for your father, how are you going to love your enemies? How you can love your enemies? But let's look at what the Messiah says. Here is what the Messiah says. Here is what the Messiah told us. Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children, not slave, but children of your Father in heaven. Do you see that? But you may be children, not slave, but children. So we are called servant of God because what? Children can be servant of their father. But we are not slave of God. We are servants of God. A children can be servant, a child can be servant of their father. I used to be servant of my father. I used to clean his boot and do all kind of stuff. That's a servant role. Servitude. Whenever you are in servitude, then you can be considered a servant. I am a servant right now. A nurse is a servant. A nurse is a servant of the patient. But what kind of servant are we? Are we like, oh, slaves? No, no. We are servant. But We are not servants that are looked down upon, like, you're just a slave. No. But anyway, let's continue with the dumbness of this Abdul, because he's going to say something that I want you guys to catch. How stupid these Abduls are, man. He's young, but he look like he's young. He might not be that young. When I was his age, I was sending my siblings to helping them to go to teachers college. I don't know what about this guy. So I didn't consider, when I was his age, I was a man.
Wait. Go to Quran 60, chapter 60, verse 8. Love is there. Go.
He said, Quran 60, chapter 60, verse 8. Watch this. Love for who? Love for who? He said, go to Quran 60, verse 8. Let's see what Quran 60, verse 8 say. Allah does not forbid that you be kind and just to those who did not fight against you on account of religion and drove you out of your homes. Do you see who? Is that your enemy? Do you see how dumb this clown is? So the Quran says in Surah 60 verse 8, it says, let me show you guys what it says so you guys could see it for your own self. And this is what he called loving your enemy, because he cannot find nothing like that in his Quran. He's lying. Take care. So here we go. This is it right here. This is what he quoted. Allah does not forbid that you be kind and just to those who did not fight you. How are they your enemies? If they're not fighting against you, how are they your enemies? On account of religion, nor drove you out of your home. Surely Allah loves those who are, let me see the last part. What is it? Equitable. So Allah loves those who love the Muslims. If that's what it means. But what did Jesus say? That's not what, when it comes to Jesus, that's not what he says. Do you see the difference when it comes to what Jesus is telling us? Look at the difference. Look at the difference. Jesus is actually telling you to love your real enemies. Muhammad is not telling you to love your real enemies. Look what Jesus says. And look at the difference. The big difference between what Jesus said and what Muhammad said. Here is what Jesus says. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Look at the difference. Look at the difference. Allah does not forbid that you be kind and just to those who do not fight you. Do you see the difference? Big difference. Not the same. The people who do not fight you should never be your enemies. But Jesus is telling you to love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. What a Abdul, man. They just slingshot and give you verses. Oh, go to this verse and go to that verse because I don't know why I get out of that. Go to this verse and go to that verse as if you don't have a mind of your own. You don't have a mind of your own.
Go there and show me that verse in the Bible like that.
He said, show me that verse in the Bible like that. Do what we just did. He told the lady, he told the lady, go to Surah 60 verse 8. When we go there, what does the verse says? Love those who love you. That's what it actually says. If you translate it or interpret it, it's actually telling you to love those who love you. But what did Jesus say? Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Then he said, show me a verse like that in the Bible. But he's going to teach you the Bible. In the beginning, he boasts, let me teach you your Bible. And tell me now, is he teaching us a Bible? Or he's just making a fool of himself like they always do? Headless clown.
Which one?
Quran 60, verse 8. Chapter.
Do you see? We already read and show you guys Quran 60, verse 8. And what he says, do you see anything on Quran 60, verse 8 that tells you that you love your enemies? Read it yourself. There it is on the screen. Allah does not forbid that you be kind and just to those who did not fight you on account of religion, nor drove you out of your homes. Surely Allah loves those who are equitable. Now you take the comparison from Jesus. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. How are these verses the same? Not the same. Totally not the same. This is like comparing darkness with light. And he don't see that because he's blind. He's living in a blind world.
60, verse 8.
Holiness.
Wait. I'm showing from the Bible. Jesus is a killer and murderer.
No,
Do you hear what he says? I'm showing from the Bible that Jesus is a killer and murderer. Watch this.
He's a liar. He's a liar.
A liar.
He's lied.
6:22.
Okay, now let's read the first Romans 6:22.
Yes,
It says, but now.
No, you hear what he says? He's showing from the Bible that Jesus is a killer and a liar. Then he said, read Romans 6, verse 32. Where does Romans 6, verse 32 say that Jesus is a killer and a liar? Do you see this stuff? This is what they want to come into our country and teach us. And I'm going to show a part of a clip, because since they say this guy is Shamshi's wannabe, I will show you a part of a clip from another brother's channel where something that Shamshi says. So look at this, my friend, and listen to what this guy is saying.
Now being made.
Listen, read.
All right. But now being made free from sin and become servants to God.
Oh, servant, wait here. Servant, yes.
Servants.
But now, look.
But not
New
slaves.
International Version.
Servant.
Wait, he's changing the verse. He's changing the verse. Listen. Here, look.
What?
Look, see, slave.
Okay, servant to God.
Slaves.
No, servant.
He's so dumb that he don't even know that the word that it can be translated servant can also be translated as slave. That's how dumb he is. Like the word can be translated as slave, the word can be translated as servant. But as I show you guys before, that Jesus says Jesus is, I'm saying to his disciples, he says, I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. These idiots are slaves because they don't know Allah's business. If you ask these idiots, what is Allah's shin? A million of them have a different million answers. Oh, his shin is this. Some of them believe it's an actual shin, and some of them believe that no, it's metaphorical shin. If you ask them what is Allah's hands, they can't tell you. They say, oh, so it is this, this, because Allah don't let them know his business clearly, because the Quran is clear, so they cannot tell what these things are talking about, what he's talking about. But Jesus is saying that a servant doesn't know the master's business. So you are not a servant. He said, I call you friends. You are friends. So, I'm a friend of Christ. Can you imagine that? that you're a brother and a friend of your God? That's the most beautiful thing, man. You are a brother, a sister, and a friend of your God. The one who created you came down to earth, become your brother and your friend. You want a greater love than that? Can you show me a greater love than that? That the God of creation, the Almighty God, the one who created you, came down to your level as your brother and your friend. Where can you find that in Islam? Where can you find that in Islam? He came down as your brother and your friend and as your example. It's not like Allah telling you, oh, Muhammad is your perfect example. Surah 33 verse 21. And Muhammad was beating Muslims. Beating and abusing Muslims and invoking curse upon them. Invoking curse upon them, beating them and abusing them. Muhammad was beating them, abusing them, invoking curse upon them. Do you see the difference? Do you see the difference? Muhammad was invoking curse upon the Muslim, beating them, abusing them, calling them all kind of names and abusing them. Wicked to them, but the Messiah came, the one who created us, came down to our level, become our brother and our friend. Our brother and our friend. The one who created us came down to our level, call us friends, and call us brothers and sisters. Even mother. Wow. Wow. But these Abduls will go about trying to compare their wicked, reprobatical prophet and his concocted religion to such a beautiful demonstration of love. A beautiful demonstration of love that the Messiah had done. These Abdul would go about trying to equate the stupidity of their nasty semen-covered bastard prophet to this beautiful demonstration of love. Look at this. This is Muhammad beating Muslim and cursing Muslim. Beating Muslim and cursing Muslim. Beating Muslim and cursing Muslim. Thus for a Muslim whom I give any arm, or whom I scold, and upon whom I invoke a curse, or whom I beat. Beating Muslim and cursing them. Beating Muslim and cursing them. Beating these Muslims, cursing these Muslims. And what did Jesus come and do to it? The creator of the universe came down to our level. The creator of the universe came down to our level, became one of us, became one of us, and said to you, hey, you are my sister and my brother, you're my friend, and he is our example to follow. Look at what Muhammad was doing to Muslims. Scold them and beat them and invoke curse upon them. Can you imagine that? What kind of bastard this man was? Invoking, and then these Muslims will say, oh, he was such a nice person. And they used to call him the what? the good one or the whatever one, and he never hurt a soul. He never hurt a soul. What a beautiful, beautiful Muhammad. Never hurt a soul, but he was invoking curse and beating people. But he never hurt a soul. Nothing comparable. They have nothing to compare to our religion. All they do is a mouth. Beat off their big, stupid mouth. Because they have a mouth to use, so they talk. Nothing to compare to our religion. Can you imagine that? Muhammad is the perfect example for you to follow. Man. If Muhammad walked down this street down here, close to where I live, 9 years ago, I would not want to walk down the same street. Much less to follow Muhammad. If I know that Muhammad walked down this street here 9 years ago, I would never take that street as long as I live. Because I would not want to walk down any street that Muhammad have walked. Muhammad was a wicked, evil bastard.
Servant of God. Okay. Now, it's in there. It's servant. It's servant. You have become free of sin.
You are a slave of God.
Before you were a slave of sin. You were a sin.
You are a slave of God.
Misquoting. Before you were a slave of sin. Now you're free from sin. And you have become a servant of God. That's what it is. Yeah, slave of righteousness. You're a slave of.
See, he's stuck into his mentality. You know, he's stuck in that place. Slave of God, slave of God, slave of God. But the thing that is so different, whether it is slave or servant, is the difference between being a servant of Allah or a slave of Allah and being a servant of my God. Because being a slave of Allah, you can never ever call Allah your father. Allah doesn't have a fatherly love for you. No way, no how. Allah doesn't have a fatherly love for you at all. No way, no how, no way.
Even we're no longer sacred children. Right. We're children of God. We're adopted. We call him Abba. God tells us that he's our Abba, he's our father.
Can a Muslim say Abba Allah? Can a Muslim say Ab Allah? Abu Allah? Ab Allah, whatever. You can't say that. That would be shirk, man. Allah don't have a son or a daughter.
We pray to God. He said, our Father in heaven. Jesus said, when you pray, our Father in heaven.
Can you pray to Allah, our Father in heaven? No, you can't.
If he's our Father, he's not our slave master. You have a slave master. You are a slave for your master Allah. We are the sons of our Father. Our Father who's in heaven.
Oh yes, here it is. You're a slave of God and a sheep of Jesus. This is the part I want you guys to pay attention to. Oh man, this little boy, whose son is this? Man, it's crazy, man. Somebody need to come and get their son out of the park, because he don't have much sense at all, and go teach him to have sense.
Be thy name. That's what.
Did you hear what he said? Sheep are animals.
Our God is a.
You are animals. So he says we are sheep of Jesus, so we are animals.
Father to us, not Allah. Allah is a father to no one.
He said Jesus says you are an animal, because Jesus call us sheep. Then we are animals. So Jesus is saying that you are my brother and my sister, and I'm your shepherd. So that make you an animal. Where is the head on this Muslim? This Muslim gave up his brain to become Abdul. What a dumb donkey this guy is, man.
What does
Allah
Jesus
is a
say,
slave
God?
You
master.
are an
You
animal.
are God.
Notice he keep on repeating, Jesus called you a slave, so you are an animal. Jesus called you a sheep, so you are an animal. You are an animal. You are an animal. Let me show you some hadith. Let me show you a hadith where people are called shepherd. What a dumb, idiotic donkey. Man, where is the brain on this idiotic clown? Let me show you. So here is the hadith. If you notice here what it says, a man is the shepherd of his family. So if the man is the shepherd of his family is the sheep of his pastor, right? Isn't that true? Logic. Not God logic, but logic. And this is from Al-Adab Al-Mufrad. So this is from the Hadith. And what she says right here. Ibn Umar reported that the Prophet, may Allah bless him and grant him peace, all of you are shepherds, and each of you is responsible for flock, for his flock. What is flock? Sheep. Sheep is in a flock. Or sheep are in a flock. Sheep are in a flock, right? So what I would like to ask this stupid little Muslim boy is, when Muhammad was saying that all of you are shepherd and responsible for his flock, was Muhammad calling these people animal? Because what is a flock? When you comparing shepherd and flock, what is a flock? Sheep or goats. Isn't that so? What they call them, llamas, goats, sheep. That's what a shepherd take care of, right? Yes. So what was Muhammad calling people animal? What was he calling Muslim animal? And what he says here, a man is the shepherd of the people of his house, and he is responsible. Look at this. So a man is a shepherd of the people of his house, meaning that a man, the people of his house are his sheep. His sheep, sorry, you don't have an S on sheep. Are his sheep, right? His flock, his sheep. So was Muhammad calling the people in a man's house animal? A woman is a shepherd. Look at this. A woman is a shepherd of the whole soul of her husband, and she is responsible. So what that says, is that saying that the woman is better than the people in her household because she's the shepherd and they are the sheep? Figuratively speaking, they are her flock. Watch this. Each of you is a shepherd and each is responsible for his flock. Do you see that? And that's not the only place you can find these kind of stuff. Let me show you again. Just to show you how stupid and clueless these Abduls are. Clueless Abduls. They don't intend to use their brain. They don't intend to use their brain at all. What they do, you have an argument with them and they gave up on using their brain. That's what they do. Here we go again. Daily Hadith Online, I didn't put it there. The teaching of Prophet Muhammad in Arabic and English, I didn't put that there. Did I? Abdullah bin Umar reported the messenger of Allah, peace and blessing be upon him, said, every one of you is a shepherd and responsible for his flock. Shepherd and flock. What is a flock? You ever heard a flock of people? No, a flock of sheep. Is that what it is? A flock of sheep. So when people are called sheep, it's not literal. It's a figurative language, a matter of speaking. A matter of speaking. So he come to teach Christians the Bible and end up don't even know his stupid religion, that he believe that because you're called a sheep, that means that you're called an animal. And look how foolish this clown is. Look what Jesus says. Look what Jesus says. Just to let you guys see how stupid he is. Look at the language of Jesus and you will see that us being called sheep is on a great level. Not just on a mere animal level. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd laid down his life for the sheep. I would like to ask this dumb Abdul if he would give up his life for a sheep, a real animal. Would you give up your life for an animal? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Notice what he says. The hired servant is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep. So when Jesus is actually saying, yes, I am God right here. Literally, he's saying that I am God. Because guess what? Guess what? We are likened to the sheep. And Jesus is saying that he owns us. He owns us. Is that what he's saying here? Look at this, my friends. He said the hired servant does not own the sheep. The hired hand does not own the sheep. But he's saying that I own the sheep. How can a man say, hey, I own you? Only God is the owner of mankind. But Jesus is telling you the hired hand is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep. So when he see the wolf coming, he abandoned the sheep and run away. Then the wolf attacked the flock and scattered it. The man ran away because he is hired hand and cares nothing for the sheep. But listen as Jesus continued. I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep and my sheep knows me. Just as the Father knows me, I know the Father. And I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep that are not of this pen. I must bring them also. They too shall listen to my voice. And then notice the word flock. Here we go again. And there shall be one flock. Isn't that what we see in the Hadith? The word flock. So Muhammad called them sheep too. In other words, called them sheep. So does it mean that Muhammad was calling them animal? But Jesus called you an animal. Jesus do worse. Jesus called you an animal. What a dumb, stupid, headless clown. Where is the brain on these donkeys, man? When I talk about donkeys, I'm talking about Dawa donkeys. You know, that's what I call them, Dawa donkeys. So, where is the brain on this donkey?
God is a slave master. You are a slave of your Allah. Our God is our Father. And yet,
okay, so now, remember they said he act like Samsi. He's a Samsi wannabe. got caught misquoting the Bible. Samsi wannabe. So now, let's look at something this headless clowns Samsi says. Just to show you the rhetoric of these stupid idiots, man. So he's a Samsi wannabe. And let us show you, Islam is telling us something and we need to listen. When Islam speaks to us, we need to listen. But sometimes we don't listen. So this video here is from the Great Commissioner. I'll give you guys his YouTube channel over. You guys could subscribe if you want to subscribe. But he's the one who showed this video. I just want to show that part of it, something that Samsi says, and you guys take that very serious. So that's his channel. If you, it's in the chat. If you want to subscribe to his channel, it's in the chat. Watch this. Look at this right here. You're going to see something that Samsi says that is done.
Interrupting.
Who's that?
Interrupting. When you look at Dr. Imkan, the translator of Sahih Bukhari,
Who's that?
and the Quran into English, right? Bro, right? Allah revealed Surah Bara at repentance. This is the same one he's talking about, Surah Al-Tawbah.
Al-Bara,
right?
yeah, correct.
The order to discard all obligations, all covenants. That means Hudaybiyah. All vows.
No, it doesn't mean that. Lie.
Yes, it does.
Lie. No.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't mean that.
Wait
No.
a second.
Don't lie. Don't lie.
He's
He's lying
panicking.
against Islam.
He's panicking.
I'm not panicking.
Prove to me I'm lying.
Okay.
Okay. And
You
I'll
made
prove
it
to
clear. You made
Right,
it
Let me
clear.
finish. Let me finish. Right? And
Because the Hudaybiyah was before.
and
The Hudaybiyah was
commanded
before. The
the
first after.
Muslims.
Do you notice the guy is talking and he's trying to talk over the guy? Because you know when they get caught, that's what they do. So the Christian brother is talking, he's trying to talk over, because that's how when they get caught, they do that stuff.
To fight
Okay.
against all the pagans as well against the people of the scripture, Jews and Christians. If they do not embrace Islam till they pay the jizya, right, with willing submission and feel themselves subdued. So that means until they pay the jizya,
Okay.
right?
So what the brother is saying to him, according to, I think it's coming from that the Quranic verse, Surah 9 verse 29. He's saying that there are scholars who believe that you should fight against these people, the pagans and all these people, until they pay the jizya, because this is literally what the Quran says, that you should fight against the Jews and the Christians and those who do not believe in Allah on the last day until they feel till they pay the jizya and they and feel subdued, that they feel humiliated and subdued.
So that means that command is still in operation.
Okay.
does
Now
it
can I
not?
speak now? Okay. And now you see
What's
what?
my question?
That
So the brother is saying that means that command is still in operation, which yes it is, because if you watch Sheikh Al-Hakim, he believed that command is still in effect, but Samsi is trying to lie right here. Watch.
still in implementation. That's why I'm coming. Don't worry, I'm here to deal with you. You look angry. Calm down. Don't kill me. No, watch this. Watch this.
Do you hear him? Don't kill me. Like you see Christian going about killing people. He may be talking about his own Muslim. He said, by the content of the heart, the mouth speak.
With the truth.
Watch this. Watch
Deal
this.
with Jesus.
Okay, deal with
On the day
Jesus.
of repentance.
So why speaking to me then?
Deal with Jesus.
Ikhwa,
on the
let
day
me
of
finish with
repentance.
him. Ikhwa, brother. Okay, let me deal with him. So remember what I said last week? Okay. Oh, this guy.
Look, do you see what happening? Somebody at the distance talking and it distract him. But when the Christian was talking, he was talking while the Christian was talking. Do you see that? He have attention deficit to the point where somebody in the distance talking and it is bothering him. But when the Christian was talking, he was talking while the Christian, right in the Christian here, talking while the Christian is talking. This is the attention deficit that this clown have.
This is going to be so interesting.
Go, please, go.
See how long
Because
it
you're not gonna
takes
have
to
to me.
run off.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the brother to come down. Okay. Now look what he said.
Is it still
He
in
said
operation
this
today?
verse still into implementation.
Today.
Wait. Let me speak. Let me speak. Now, as he doesn't know, first of all, he made a claim. He said that verse Bara invalidates Hudaybiyah. That verse was reviewed after Hudaybiyah. When Hudaybiyah was invalidated. Why are you cutting me?
You cut me.
So it's okay to cut me.
Just cut.
You know him. Whatever I'm gonna say, he doesn't accept it. So him, he's like,
You're not.
He's lying, literally lying. Literally lying. Listen to this.
Are you accepting anything I say?
Because it doesn't,
There you go.
I tell you.
So just carry
So
on.
when we're gonna talk then, take off yourself.
No, listen.
That's it.
You can have your
That's-
opinion. I want the people to hear.
Yeah, I'm gonna speak now.
Right,
Yes.
okay, carry on.
So that verse, as the scholars mentioned, Sheikh Salih al-Sheikh, is not an implementation. Do you know why? Because that verse was revealed if the non-Muslim tried to harm the Muslims and kill them if they convey their message. But now in our time, the whole world is in the circumstances of peace. So therefore, the Muslims are allowed to practice their religion and to preach their religion. Who said that? Sheikh Salih al-Sheikh. That's why Sheikh al-Islam, Ibn Taymiyyah. Can you tell stop cutting me?
Carry on.
Can
Finish
you
your
tell
point.
stop cutting
You
me?
said peace.
There,
Remember.
there. Sheikh
What's the
al-Islam.
definition of
Sheikh,
peace?
I'll tell you the definition of peace.
Yeah,
That
what
you
is
don't
it?
kill us and harm us. That's
Sorry,
it.
say again?
You don't kill us and harm us.
So if we don't do anything to you, you won't do anything.
No, if you're allowed us to preach Islam, yes.
Right.
Yes. Wait, let me speak.
So
But listen, you're gonna hear what the analysis that our brother got from there, the Great Commissioner, which makes a lot of sense. The guy asked him a question, and I want you guys to pay attention to the question that was asked. And this is how quick on his brain the brother is, because the brother asked him a question that is damaging, that the Great Commissioner caught upon and was able to use. Look at this.
You don't kill us and harm us. That's
Sorry, say
it.
again?
You don't kill us and harm us.
So if we don't do anything.
Yes. Wait, let me speak.
You hear what he said? If you allow us to preach Islam, then we are okay. He says, if you don't kill us, we don't kill you. That's what he says. Look at what he says here. I want you guys to pay
You
attention.
don't kill us and harm us. That's it.
If we don't kill you, so if he come to, say for example, if I had a country, say I have a country and my country name was Islam is the Messistan. and Muslim come to my country and he says, if we don't arm them and we don't kill them, they won't kill us. But listen to this. It make no sense. Literally make no sense whatsoever. Let me show you why it doesn't make no sense. Listen what he's going to say after that.
Say again?
You don't kill us and harm us.
So if we don't do anything to you, you won't do anything.
No, if you allow us to preach Islam, yes.
Right.
Yes.
No, if you allow us to preach Islam. Notice what he says. First he said, if you don't kill us and you don't arm us. Then he changed it to, if you allow us to preach Islam. Do you see that?
Let me speak.
So did you hear what Samshi said? Brother Cain asked him, so if we don't harm you, you won't do nothing. And Samshi came out and said, as long as you let us preach. That is very key. We'll play it again.
In the circumstances of peace. So therefore, the Muslims are allowed.
So Samshi's being deceiving right here because he's implying that when we're in peace, as long as you don't kill us or harm us. And Brother Cain did an excellent job and said, so if we don't harm you or kill you, we'll hear what he has to say verbatim. And Samsi said, if you allow us to preach.
Do you see what Samsi consider hurting a Muslim? Allowing a Muslim to preach their religion and tell you lie, like this idiot the little black dude was just lying. That little black dude was just lying. I could talk like that because I'm black, and when I say black dude, it's not anything racist or anything, but just to bring to your remembrance who I'm talking about. I don't know his name. The little black dude that was just lying. So if you don't allow them to lie to you, that is hurting them. If you said to them, no, we don't want you to come here and Islamicize, you could keep your religion to yourself. You could have your mosque, and you could go to your mosque and you could preach your religion, but we don't want you to come into our country and Islamicize and tell lies. And we don't want you to come into our country and did what Uthman ibn Farouk do. Then guess what? You're hurting them and arming them, and they can fight you. Literally, that's what this is saying.
To practice their religion and to preach their religion. Who said that?
Practice their religion. See, the problem, if you even allow them to practice their religion, they want to preach their religion. That means they want to do dawah. So for example, if you were in a country where they say, hey, you could practice your religion, but you cannot do dawah to our people. Guess what? They would want to fight you. Because practicing their religion on their own is not sufficient for them. They must be out here lying to you. Just like you see that little headless boy was lying a while ago. Say, Jesus called us animal. When he called us sheep, he called us animal. When Jesus called us his sheep, he was calling us animals. And it's worse than calling us a slave. Do you see the stupidity of this religion, man? So, but people don't know what Islam is about. Why you think that there's so much dawah is more important in Islam than anything else? And if you put me to the test and say, prove what you say, that dawah is more important than prayer, I could prove to you. I could prove to you that dawah is more important than prayer. I literally can prove to you. If a Muslim said to me, you're lying, that dawah is more important than prayer, I could prove to a Muslim that dawah is more important to a Muslim than prayer. Because Muhammad says, it literally says that the one who bring a soul to Islam, the reward, I can't remember exactly what he said the reward would be. So dawah is more important. This is why Ibn Farouk is going around lying to people. Even though Islam say you can lie in 3 occasions, and one of that is dawah, because dawah is considered jihad. And dawah is a form of jihad. So, and Muhammad said jihad is deceptive. So, and Muhammad also say you could lie in 3 ways, and one of them is jihad. So anyway, but Uthman ibn Farouk, all these Muslims that you see going about saying Uthman this, Uthman, and the ones who are against Uthman ibn Farouk, Allah, the God, the demon of Islam, is not against Uthman ibn Farouk. Uthman is Allah's prized possession. All these dawah donkeys, none of them is on the level of Uthman in the eyes of Allah. Uthman is on the highest level. Uthman ibn Farouk, footnote, is on the highest level of Islam. All these clowns and all these people, none of them is on the level of Uthman, because Uthman is the biggest deceiver ever, and Allah liked that kind of deception. So their job is to come to the West and be deceptive to us, literally deceptive, to be to deceive us, to lie to us, to con us. You notice what he says. Notice what this guy say. But if you should look at the opposite. So he's saying that, hey, if you allow us to preach, we will not fight you. If you allow us to preach our religion to you, because they are not just satisfied with observing their religion, like, oh, you go to your mosque and you could pray and do all this stuff. They're not satisfied with that. They want to indoctrinate the people of the country that they go into. And if they don't get that, they will fight against you. They will fight against you. They will hurt you. They will destroy you. You listen to what he says. Now, the crazy thing about it is that this actually was seconded by another Muslim. Another Muslim seconded. Listen to this.
The Arabs regarded war as a chance to massacre the weak. This was the Arabs, yeah? To plunder their goods, destroy their villages and cattle, and rape their women. Islam, however, changed the concept of the war.
Yes.
War became a way of rescue. War became a way to rescue the oppressed and punish the oppressor. The ultimate aim of fighting battles, and they've termed that as Ghazawat, was to save people from the worship of idols and false gods.
So do you see that? The ultimate aim of battle, of Islamic battle, was to save people from the worship of false god and idol. What is that telling you, man? That the aim, the reason Islam fight their war is to save, quote unquote, save people from the worship of false god and idols. That is what? Offensive jihad. So they are fighting these kind of war, claiming that they are saving people from false god and idol worship.
And to bring them to Islam to worship Allah. So the question I wanted to ask is, it says here the ultimate aim of fighting battles was to save people from the worship of idols.
I wouldn't necessarily agree.
So do you see what's going on there? The crazy thing is this. So the guys, First Samson says, the only reason we will not fight you, the only reason we will not fight you, if you allow us to preach. So if you allow us to preach in your country, then we will not fight you. But if there's a country that says, hey, we don't want to be Islamicized. We don't want to be Islamicized. We don't want you to preach here. You could come here. You could practice your religion in your own personal thing. But I don't want you to come out in the public. Then they would want to fight these people who live in these countries. Fight the government of this country. If the government tell them that they cannot do that. Do you see this?
Could be a reason. There are different reasons. Many different reasons. You can fight a battle in self-defense. Doesn't mention that there. You can fight a battle actually for dawah as well.
Do you hear what he said? Do you hear what he said? You could fight a battle for dawah. You could actually kill people because you're spreading Islam. Do you want to hear more than that? You could actually kill people because you're spreading Islam. So if there's a country that says, I don't want you to come here and lie to my people, because we show where the little Muslim guy was a liar, saying that Jesus called us worse than slaves. He called us animal, and calling us a sheep is worse than calling us a slave, because he takes things out of context. But we have people who are not well educated and listening to these things, they will adhere to this belief like, oh, Jesus called us sheep. A sheep is worse than call a slave. How is a sheep worse than call a slave? Can you imagine that guy is a black guy? You know, you possibly a son of a slave, who, I don't know. But when you say this to a Jamaican, that being called a sheep is worse than being called a slave, or do you think that a Jamaican would take that, or African American, that when you say, oh, Jesus called you a sheep, it's worse than call you a slave. How do you think that they would look at you if they're really thinking about it? Like, wow, are you really downclassing being called a slave? The tribulation that our ancestors been through, are you really looking down on that? That being called a sheep by Jesus, which have metaphorical meaning, is worse than calling me a slave? Jesus, who say you are my brother and my friend, you're my sister, my mother, I'm dying for you, is worse than calling me a slave. But do you see the craziness here? That this guy confessed that you could actually fight people to spread Islam. But how can they do that in today's United States, or today's Great Britain, or today's France, or today's Canada? They cannot do it. So this is why you will see them, their behavior on the Dawah pathway. Like Uthman ibn Farouk lying against American citizen, saying that American citizens stab him when no evidence that he was ever being stabbed. You're going to see a lot of these things because they are less in the population, and they employ people like Andrew Tate to make them more. When they become more, are even not even more, but when they got the deviant people of the society like Andrew Tate, the people who follow Andrew Tate, the deviant minded people who see him as top G, even though he is a con artist and they idolize him. When you have those people become Muslim, what you think you do? You create thugs. You create thugs. And the thugs that you create are dangerous. The thugs that Islam create are dangerous to us, dangerous to our well-being, dangerous to us as people. Let me show you something. And then I will, my brother Sam is on, so I will finish up there. Let me show you something. I don't like competing with him. You know, I like listening to him. So let me show you something. I just want to show you this, and then we wrap it up, you know. Let me show you something here. So Islam cultivate Islam cultivate all kind of people. And we have to take these things into consideration. But Islam don't only cultivate regular people, and the people that Islam call Muslim, we would never call Christians. The people that Islam call Muslim, we would never see them as Christian. And let me show you one thing that is so damaging about Islam. And just I'm looking to this. Notice what the guy says. So they are going about and they're trying to cultivate this kind of mindset under the, like Andrew Tate, helping them to get these kind of people into Islam. And what is the result of all this? Let me show you what's the result of all this. You create people like this right here. Watch this. They don't care who comes in.
We have gangsters. We have Muslim gangsters as well. And when you go ahead and attack the sacred symbols of Islam, although our approach is not to do so, we can't stop the gangsters from dealing with you or anyone else. We can't stop the Muslim gangsters from dealing with you or anyone else. Just like if you go to Colombia and you speak about particular cartel in a specific manner, go to their area and be a man and speak about them.
So you see what it is. They have Muslim gangsters. And Islam is compared to the drugs cartel. So these Muslim gangsters that are cultivated in our society on the people like Andrew Tate, because the only people will gravitate towards Andrew Tate are deviant people. To be real with you, a person who have deviant ideology. If you know Andrew Tate and know his behavior and know what he stands for, only people with deviant behavior would gravitate towards that. If you notice the Muslim women, they're not gravitating towards him because they don't have deviant mind. It's young Muslim men who are gravitating towards him. They have deviant mind. They have deviant mind. Look at what happened to Salman Rushdie. He was a young Muslim man who tried to kill him. Who tried to kill him? Because you can brainwash these young minds. They're already brainwashed from they were babies coming into the Western world. From Afghanistan, from Iran, from all over the world. A lot of them have been brainwashed. And they walk into this world here, into our world. We need to be aware of what they are doing. They realize that they cannot be majority no time soon. They cannot be majority no time soon. So how they're going to speed up being majority is to get people who have a great following to become Muslims. You see how they were trying to target, what's that guy name? Jordan Peterson, because of his following. And they would target people like you see, Young Don. You see, he got a little following. You know, they look at the YouTube channel. They're looking at all this stuff. They're using psychology now to target you. And Sneeko and all these people, if they could get these people to become Muslim because they have a larger following, then guess what? They believe that these people can affect a larger population so that they will have more people. And even if they cannot have more people, they will have more deviant-minded people. Because a deviant-minded people can make changes in a society. Yes, they can. They can affect changes in a society. They can prosecute people for them. They can persecute people for them. When they want somebody to be persecuted, be killed, and to shut up, like the Sam Shamoun and the David Wood and the Christian Prince and whoever. They want to shut these people up. Then they have these mass amount of deviant-minded people. Guess what? It is easy to control the population with deviant-minded people. If you guys just take a look at what happened in the United States and the attack on the Capitol, not trying to get into politics, that was a satanic move. Let me show you why I know that was a satanic move. Satan is testing the water to see how weak, where are the weakest link on the weak chain is. And when he tests the water to see where the weak chain is, then he implement his move. He implement his move using his agents. Because you can tell me that these Dawa donkeys are not Satan agents. They are. When you hear a man say something like this, you tell me this is not the agent of Satan.
I think we have gangsters. We have Muslim gangsters as well.
A Dawa preacher is preaching that you are Muslim gangsters. Do you believe that there would be a Christian preacher teaching that, oh, we have Christian gangsters as well? Don't you think we have? And he notice he claiming them. He's claiming them as Muslims. Don't you think that we have? We have. The moment you use the term we have, if I say, hey, we have chicken in the refrigerator, I'm telling you that I have chicken in the refrigerator. So he's actually saying these gangsters are mine. If I said we have a pot on the stove with rice, I'm telling you, hey, come on over, man. We have chicken in the refrigerator and a pot on the stove with rice. Guess what? I'm telling you, I have rice to give to you. So come over and eat. This is what he's doing. But look at this, my friends and my brothers, before I go. Look what happened in Christian worlds. Let me show you what happened to Christians in Christian worlds, just to show you just to show you the danger of things. What is happening to Christian worlds? Why these people are saying that we have, and they want the right to come to your country to proclaim their stupidity. Let me show you what is going on in Christian worlds. In Muslim worlds, going on with Christians in Muslim worlds, because this is something that we need to pay attention to. It's happening. They're trying to control our societies, while look what is happening to our brothers and sisters in their world. Churches burning, and Christian kidnapped in Egypt.
Yeah, actually, last week, since last Sunday, we have almost every day, a church is burned in Egypt. They say sometimes it's electric fire. Another church, they say the children had candles, and the candles sometimes we don't know, and sometimes it's electric fire, and they change their mind by other things. We had through the last week, 7 days, we have 7 churches.
7 churches. That sounds like it's all candle and it's electric fire. Come on, man. And if this start happen to these clowns in United States or in Australia, or guess what happened? According to Samsi and the gay guy, whatever his name is, the gay Muslim, what do you think would have happened? That would give them the right to start fighting us in whatever way they can. Do you see how they believe that they're better than us? They can attack and fight and do offensive jihad to promote Islam in our world. In our world, if it's available, and we must allow them to preach their stupidity in our world. But when Christians are teaching and preaching, they burn their churches. They burn their churches. And look at this. Come on, man. Come on, man. Let me show you. Let me show you. Because this is not a joke, man. This here is not a joke. It's a reality of what's happening, and we are sitting back believing that everything is okay. This is not okay. This is not okay. This is not okay at all. And we need to start looking at these things. Whenever we see America, I'm a Jamaican, and I'm warning Americans. And people need to clip off this part of the video and warn of a Jamaican warning Americans. There was a time when I was a young man in Jamaica when politics was a friendly, festive thing. And then election time. When election time come, it was a friendly, festive thing. Like people would dress in red, and some people would dress, what was the other color? I can't remember. It was red and, was it blue? Red and something. I know it was red for the People's National Party. And it was, I think it was blue for the Jamaica Labour Party. And people, it was festive. And then all of a sudden, it became violence. If you should Google how many Jamaicans killed at the time of election, you'll be so surprised. Nigeria, the same thing. All over Africa, the same thing. If we allow these things to start happening in America, guess what happened? He opened the door for Islam. That's the devil's work. It opened the door for Islam. The thing that happened at the capital should never happen and should never happen again. Because it opened the door. Satan is testing the water. Look what this says here. This is talking about places where Christianity is actually Christians are persecuted, and literally, in a sense, Look what it says. Let me show you. Top 10 most dangerous places for Christians. And look how many Muslim countries are falling into it. Afghanistan, which we expected, because Afghanistan is the most Muslim country today. When I say the most Muslim, the most Islamic country, meaning the one close to what Muhammad wanted. Afghanistan. Number 1 for the first time. Watch this. And Egypt is not even mentioned there, but you see where Egypt is killing Christians. North Korea, which is a secular environment. Somalia, Muslim, Islamic environment. Harassment, intimidation, and murder. Watch what happened in for the first time. If you read through it, you will see what happened to them. It is illegal to convert. Illegal to convert there. Converting to a faith outside of Islam is equal to treason, a betrayal of family, tribe, and country. Afghanistan. We go down. Somalia, number 3, Muslim. Harassment, intimidation, and murder. Libya, Muslim, secret lives of faith. So you got to live in secret. When a person in Libya leaves Islam to follow Christ, they face immense pressure from their family to renounce the faith. Their neighbors and the rest of their community ostracizes them, and they can be left homeless, jobless, and alone. Yemen, severe punishment for conversion. Muslim country. But do you see what these two Muslims are saying? If you, one say, if you don't allow us to preach our religion, we could fight you. And the other one say, we could fight you to spread Islam. Eritrea is Muslim country. In a lot of ways, despite almost half, listen to this. They call themselves Christian, but look what's going on. Despite almost half the population identify as Christian, believers in Eritrea continue to suffer extreme persecution, making still one of the hardest place in the world to follow Jesus. Why? Watch this. And there's a lot of Muslims. I bet that a lot of Muslims in Eritrea. But do you think that they prosecute the Muslim in Eritrea? No. No. There are Muslims in Eritrea. I know Muslims from Eritrea. But do you think that they will prosecute Nigeria once again, the most violent country for Christians? Nigeria, the most violent country for Christians. Yep. Boko Haram attack. And even though Nigeria is like 50-50 in a sense, 50%, 50%, the things that the Muslims do there. Can you imagine if one day America become 50-50 or even 20? If America become 20-80 Muslim, if there's a time when America even become 15% of the population of America become Muslim, you will see some things happening here. Because this is what they do. Pakistan, blasphemy law continue. In Pakistan, Christians are considered second-class citizens and are discriminated against in every aspect of life. Church leaders can be arrested if they don't abide by the authority and can be lied upon. Can be lied upon. All a Muslim have to do is say, you say something about Muhammad and your life is gone. Iran, convert, raided, arrested, and threatened. And guess what? India, systemic targeting of Christian, but you know India is mostly Hindu. But guess what? We're top 10, and where is Egypt? Where is Egypt? But we know of all the killing and persecution of Christians in Egypt, but Egypt is not on this. Do you see? But you see what these Muslims do? They will tell you that we have the right to come into your country and practice our religion. We want the right to come into your country and practice our religion. And if you don't, my brothers and sisters, if you don't allow us to practice your religion in our country, what we do, we hear it from the Muslim mouth. You don't have to make up no story. You don't have to make up no story. You hear it from his mouth right here. You don't have to make up any story at all.
Oh, this guy,
This
look.
is going to be so interesting.
Go, please, go.
See how long it's gonna happen, Ronno?
The guy said this is going to be so interesting.
I don't know. I'm seeing the brother to come down. Okay. No, look what he said.
Is it still
He
in
said
correction
this
today?
verse still into implementation.
Today.
Wait. Let me speak. Let me speak. Now, as he doesn't know, first of all, he made a claim. He said that verse Bara invalidate Hudaybiyah. That verse was reviewed after Hudaybiyah. When Hudaybiyah was invalidated. Why are you cutting me?
You cut me.
And do you notice he's going to contradict himself? Because listen what he's going to say. I just want to go back over this and listen. He contradict himself because he's saying that there is a reason when this can be implemented, when you can fight people, fight Christians or fight whoever, because if there was a Christian government that says, no, we don't want Islam, you could practice your religion at home and your mosque and in your mosque, but you cannot come in our public spheres and preach your religion. You cannot have your religion on our TV. You cannot have your religion on the public sphere in our streets, and you cannot have our religion in our parks. You cannot Islamicize our people. Listen what he says.
So it's okay to cut me. You know him. Whatever I'm gonna say, he doesn't accept it. So him, he's like,
You're not
Islam
accepting.
to
Are you
people.
accepting anything I say?
Because it doesn't.
There you go.
I tell you.
So just carry
So
on.
what are we gonna talk then? Take care of yourself.
No, listen.
That's it.
You can have your
That's-
opinion.
Do you see how this Muslim is so crazy? He says, why are we talking then? Because we have an audience. I told you, man, they leave their brain at home before they come to Dawah, because they call it Dawah. He said, why are we talking then if you're not going to take what I say? Isn't it a debate? Isn't it to reveal Islam and reveal Christianity? Isn't that what it is? So you are asking the question, why are we talking then? Does that make any sense?
I want the people to hear.
Yeah, I'm gonna speak.
Oh, there goes a man with a brain.
Carry on.
So that verse, as the scholars mentioned, Sheikh Saleh al-Sheikh, is not an implementation. Do you know why? Because that verse was revealed if the non-Muslim tried to harm the Muslims and kill them.
Notice what he said, arm them and kill them. And watch this.
If they convey their message. But now in our time, the whole world is in the circumstances of peace. So therefore the Muslims are allowed to practice their religion and to preach their religion.
Oh, so they are in the circumstances of peace. They are allowed to practice their religion. So do you see? The whole world is in the circumstances of peace. Do you see how stupid this idiot is? The whole world is in circumstances of peace. Why can't Christians practice their religion in Egypt in peace? Why can't Christians practice their religion in Saudi Arabia in peace? Why can't Christians practice their religion in Iran in peace? Why can't they practice their religion in Afghanistan in peace? Why can't they practice their religion in Pakistan in peace? No. That's not the case. The case is Islam is trying to Islamicize the world. And those who refuse to be Islamicized will be killed or subjected to Islamic law, and be humiliated and subdued, become second-class citizens.
Who said that? Sheikh Salih al-Sheikh. That's why Sheikh al-Islam, Ibn Taymiyyah. Can you tell stop cutting me?
Carry on,
Can you
finish
tell
your
stop
point.
cutting
He
me?
said peace,
Yeah.
remember.
Do you see the bad attention disorder he have? To the point where his voice is so loud, man. There's a microphone on this thing right here. His voice is so loud, and he's still worried about what's going on back behind.
Yeah. Sheikh
What's
al-Islam,
the definition of
Sheikh,
peace?
I'll tell you the definition of peace.
Yeah,
That
what
you
is
don't
it?
kill us and harm us. That's it.
So the definition of peace is that you don't kill us and harm us. And you would look at it and say, oh, that sounds nice. But listen what he's gonna say next.
Pagan.
You don't kill us and harm us.
So if we don't do anything to you, you won't do anything.
No, if you allow us to preach Islam, yes.
Right.
Oh, so the definition of peace is allow us to preach Islam. That. So if you come to a stranger's country and they say, no, we don't want no, you're coming into their country. Muslims are coming from their world and coming, like, say, for example, you go to Japan or Korea, but you notice they don't play that game in Korea. You don't see Muslims say, okay, let's go to Korea and we go live, and we gonna play the game there. We're gonna go there and preach, and if you don't allow us to preach, then we're gonna kill you. No, because if they go to Korea to preach and they'll be arrested and their body may not even end up back home. Did you see what happened to that American young man? He went to Korea and they accused him of doing something. No one knows if he did what he did. I don't know for a fact if he did what he did. He actually is from down this side of the world. He's from Ohio. You know, he's not far from where I live. So this guy was he went to Korea, North Korea. I don't know what he did, but he got himself in trouble over there. And he went to jail. And when he came back to the United States, he came back while Donald Trump was president. He came back while Donald Trump was president. And I think he lived maybe about 3 weeks or less. He came back in a vegetative state and died in no time. So they literally sent back his dead body. That's literally what they did. They sent him back alive, but he died within no time. Boom, he died. Who knows what they put into his system and cause him to die? Who knows? They know what they put into his system, like, oh, we could give him this and he could live for 2 weeks, and that's it. The Muslims would not do that. And when it come to China, did you see where Muhammad Hijab take off his shirt and be like, oh, I'm a big gorilla, and be like he want to beat his chest? But at the same time, the way they would talk about the Jews persecuting them, and they would talk about the America and talk about other places of the world. Do you see them talking about China like that? Do you see all these videos being made about China? No, because they know China don't play with people. So they are looking for the weakness in the Western world. They know the Western world is their gateway to believe that they can conquer the world. The Western world is their gateway because what? Western civilization allow a lot of stupidity. And Western civilization have a lot of weaknesses. A lot of weaknesses in Western civilization. Western civilization stands for almost everything in a sense. Let me show you why I say that. Western civilization. You don't have to be harsh or evil to anyone like a Muslim. You don't have to be evil to a Muslim. No, you don't. The Western society don't have to be evil to Muslim coming here. No, treat them in a good way, but let them keep their religion to themselves. Let them keep their religion to themselves, because their religion can be considered a crime. You know why we can say that? Their religion can be considered a crime. Why? Because in any place where they are dominant, they suppress the other people living in their societies. Anywhere they are dominant, they suppress the other people living in their society. They persecute homosexuals. They persecute Christians. They do all kind of manner of evil against anyone who is not of their flock. Even to their own people, they do all kind of manner of evil. The way they treat their women. You see what happened in Iran when a woman decided, okay, I'm not going to put on the veil the exact way, prescribed way. And what they did, the woman ended up being dead. You see what happened the other day where they cut off children's ear. They use scissors and thing to cut off the hair of the children's head because they weren't wearing hijab or whatever they call it. Do you see that as Western people, we need to be taking these things a lot more serious? We don't have to persecute any Muslim, persecute them, but we can stop them from, just like we need to stop these LGBTQ from LGBTQing our children. Stop these schools from having drag queen, employing drag queens and all this stuff into their school, because a man should be a man. We need to stop these things in our society. Literally, we need to stop these things in our society, because it affects our society. It totally affects our society. We need to stop Islam from preaching in our society. Really and truly, we need to. We need to put laws that hinder Islam from preaching in our society, because what? Islam, if they control our society, if they become the majority, they suppress our women. Look at it. That Daniel Ikikachu could tell his wife, I don't believe in women's education. No, go back. We suffer from a virus. There was a big virus, even though a lot of people, oh, it's an hoax. No, it's not. I'm a nurse. I can tell you it's not an hoax. So there was a virus killing us, killed many Americans, killed many people all over the world. There was a virus killing us. Whether it was invented by man or not invented by man, there was a virus killing us. Yes, there was a virus killing the weaker people with compromised system and the elderly with compromised system. Yes, there is a virus. It's still here, but because of what men were able to do, we are now controlling it in a better way. So there's a virus, and if you look at it, what's the contribution of women towards cure for this? Not cure, really, even towards cure, because I'm sure they were working on cure and thing too. But what's the contribution of women toward this vaccine? I'm telling you, big contribution, huge, massive contribution. But Islam would rather have a woman in an apron at home cooking food and stirring a pot. Cooking food and stirring a pot. That's what Islam wants from a woman. A woman at home stir in a pot and cleaning the house and doing this. Like you can clean the house too. A man cannot clean the house too. My home, most of the time when my home is clean, I am the one who clean it. I have a problem doing that. And I don't feel less of a man than anybody because I clean my home. It's my home. It's my home. It's my home. So I clean my home. I don't have a problem with that. That made me a strong man. That's how I feel. Because my mom teach me how to iron my clothes, how to wash my clothes, everything. How to cook food. I was cooking food from I was like 7 years old. Like real food from I was 8 years old, 9 year old. 9 year old, I could cook a real meal. Real quality meal at 9 years old. So, does it make me less than a man? No. It made me a strong man. That's what I feel. That's how I feel. But we're going backwards if Islam is to rule our world. What's the contribution of the Islamic world to this disease? When I say the Islamic world, I'm not talking about Muslim working in the United States and working in Europe because they are part of the system there. I'm talking about contribution of Islam, not Muslim. When I say Islam, because people can confuse this thing a lot of time. A Muslim working in America and working to find a cure for the virus is not considered Islam. Because what? If it was a Muslim woman in a Muslim world, she would never be able to do all these things that she can do here. If Daniel Ikeke Chu, who is American, could tell his wife, "Oh, I don't believe that a woman should work," and she listened to him. What do you think is going on in the real world, real life? In the real worlds, subjugation of women and all this stuff. So this is what they want to come to our world and do. They want to come to our world and sell these things. And they realize, the devil realized there's one way to do it, through deception. And when deception doesn't work, to war. And what kind of war can they use in today's day? In order to be relevant, what kind of war can they use? A different strategy of war. Uthman ibn Farouk type of war. Where you come in America lying an American citizen, say they attack you and send it to Al Jazeera. Did you hear the dumb, idiotic clown say, "Hey, I send it to Al Jazeera." So he sent something to Al Jazeera that didn't even happen to him. He sent information to Al Jazeera and said, "Al Jazeera, Americans stabbed me over here," when no one stabbed him. Nobody stabbed him at all. But he come and he say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to sell America as a wicked place where they are attacking Muslims." So guess what he do? He plants seed into a Muslim's mind that, hey, America is this bad place where they attack Muslim sheikh for preaching Islam. And guess what? According to Mimi Ijab, then here comes the Muslim thug. You know what could have happened to an innocent person because of Uthman ibn Farouk lie? And this is the way they plan to do it. People like the idiot Andrew Tate get more deviant people into their society. And the thing that happened on January 6th to the in Washington was just a revelation of how weak American society is. Satan revealed the weakness to the Muslims, like, oh yeah, we could do this. Do you see how weak Great Britain is, to the point where people could be marching down the street and saying, "Where are the Jews? We need their blood," and get away with it? You think that if you were in Louisville, Kentucky, and you were marching down the street and say, where is the Jews? We need their blood. Guess what you will do? You end up in jail. You will end up in jail. Because you are inducing panic. There's a law here called inducing panic. Where are the Jews? We need, you end up in jail and be persecuted and spend time. If you're not care, either you pay a fine or you're spending some time. You're gonna spend some time in the common jail. But when they persecute you, guess what happened? You're gonna go to prison, or they're gonna have you pay a healthy fine. Because what? You're inducing panic, and you're also discriminating against a set of people. Can you imagine what happened to Kanye West? And what did he say? Nothing too much. But you see what happened to him? But Britain allow Mimi Hijab and he set of female thugs. When I say female thugs, it's not like nothing bad towards female, but sissies, I mean, should say sissy thugs, not female. Sorry, all female. Sissy thugs, sissified, effeminate thugs walking down the street. Oh, who do this? Who do this and that? Real men don't behave like that. Real men doesn't behave like that. No man behave like Mimi Hijab. No real man. Real man don't walk down the street trying to make their neighbors uncomfortable. That's not a real man. A real man have too much to do and too much to think about to be caught up into that kind of behavior, walking with a group of people. Where are the Jews? We need their blood. Where are the this? Send me some Zionists. We need their blood. That's the weakness of society. So they're testing the water. The devil is testing the water. And what happened on January 6th in the United States is Satan testing the water to see how much is Muslim bandits can get away with. That's what's happening. This is why we need to look at our society and see where our society is going, because there is no way they can wage war against, there is no Muslim country that can wage war against America and affect American society in no way that's so great. But how can they do it? By infiltrating from inside, by attacking from inside. Attacking from inside, meaning finding loopholes and weaknesses. And how can they do it? Our children. I told people a long time ago that there is an attack on America and the Western world, and they don't see it. And you know what the attack is? Video games. Yeah. And people will say, oh, but yes, it is. All these video games that you see come out and all these craziness, that's an attack on the American mind. That's an attack on the Western mind. That is, you have intelligent children spend 15 hours in their day playing video games. And they spend 2 hours eating. And they spend this hours doing other stuff, this hours doing other stuff. Where is the hour spent dedicated to God or dedicated to any form of academic work? I'm not saying that there is not children who are doing good academically because their parents don't allow them to do the stupidity, playing video game 15 hours and 16 hours. Man, I used to see kids play video game until even when I'm coming home from work, I could see the light in the window. They're still playing video game. I went to work for 12 hours, and when I'm coming back from work, I see the light still in the window, and they're playing video game. The computer is on, and the video game is still playing. So I went to work for 12 hours and more, because you don't really work for 12 hours. You work for more than 12 hours. Because sometimes you go to work, when you're coming back, when you're leaving work, you actually work 13 hours or more. And when I was coming back from work, there was a flickering of video light, and you could see the silhouette of the person still playing the video game. 15-year-old kid. Why is this allowed? Why is this allowed? Because Satan is attacking the fiber of the society that build the society and maintain the society. So the real structure and the real drive to build the society is slowly fading. Slowly fading. Because I tell people that 20 years from now, the society that we have in America will not be the same. And this is when Satan will take charge. When I say Satan will take charge, I mean, this is when you will see the Muslim take charge. Because what? It's going to be on their level from their world. The non-progressive, non-productive level that they're used to, that's where it will be. And when I say Muslim, I'm not talking about the regular Muslim, because Islam is different from Muslim. The regular Muslim have a life to live, but Islam have an agenda. The real mind behind Islam, the drive behind Islam have an agenda, and the agenda is to brainwash and to manipulate and to conquer the world. And there are pawns, and there are people who are used to do it. Like the video yesterday with the women, the Muslim women. Do you see how uneducated they were of what their religion is? Or one of them seems, I don't know, one of them seems like she might be a liar, and she know what her religion is, but she must sell the rhetoric because she called herself a doctor. Dr. Aliyah, whatever her name was, Sophia. But what about the other lady? She seemed like she was naive and have no clue what Islam was about. And this is what majority of the people, Muslims, they have no clue whatsoever. No clue.
So did you hear what Samshi said? Brother Cain asked him, so if we don't harm you, you won't do nothing. And Samshi came out and said, as long as you let us preach. That is very key. We'll play it again.
So as long as you let us preach. So Islam is not satisfied. Do you see the key? He revealed the code of Islam. Islam is not satisfied a Muslim coming here and just living their life and going to the mosque and praising their God, whatever the thing that they call God, and doing their rituals and believing Satan sleep in their nose, and they have to do all this stuff when they go to the toilet, and they need to say Bismillah for certain things, and they need to say this, and they need to follow all these rituals and stuff. They're not satisfied with that. They want to indoctrinate you with that kind of nonsense, where you occupy your time believing all this stuff, the stress that they live in, or the stress that they live in. Oh, if I forget to do this, then I'm unclean. If I forget to do this, if I don't bend down like a woman and pee, then I'm unclean. If I don't do this, the way all this nonsense. They want to get you into this stupid mindset. They don't feel comfortable living among you and you having a different mindset from what they have. They don't feel comfortable living among you. They have an agenda to brainwash you to follow what you do. And if you don't follow what they say, well, look what happened. When you look at the other Muslim, he revealed what they will do to you if you don't follow what they say. This is the danger of Islam. If you don't follow what they say, watch what happens.
to massacre the weak. This was the Arabs, yeah? To plunder their goods, destroy their villages and cattle,
Right.
and rape their women. Islam, however, changed the concept of the war.
Yes.
War became a way of rescue.
And do you notice what it says? And rape their women and plunder their field and rape their women. And they claim that Islam changed it. So the guy is reading from a book, and I could tell that it's a Muslim book. But what did Muhammad do? Muhammad was doing what the guy was reading, plundering and raping their women, taking their women. So you see how they write books to brainwash the people. And then even within that book that they're trying to brainwash you, you could see the devil in their book. Listen to this.
War became a way of a way to rescue the oppressed and punish the oppressor.
So war became a way to rescue the oppressed and punish the oppressor. But listen, if you see anything about rescuing the oppressed and punish the oppressor, watch this.
The ultimate aim of fighting battles, and they've termed that as Ghazawat, or Ghazawat, was to save people from worshiping, to save people from the worship of idols and false gods.
So the main aim is to save you from the worship of idols and false god. The main aim for Islam to fight war is to save you from the worship of idol and false god. So you have these people who they claim, Islam claim, because like Christians, they believe that Christians are worshiping idol and false god. So you have these Christians who are worshiping Jesus, worshiping the Father, worshiping the Holy Spirit. And Muslims say, oh, you are worshiping idols and false god. So let's come in and take you over. But Christians are happy with their life. But you notice what they say is they're rescuing you from oppression. Christians are happy with their life because if you ask a Christian, most Christians here in the United States of America, if they're happy with their life, they will tell you yes. But guess what? So, Islam is the alternative, and they're going to come in and fight the government in America because the government is oppressive here in America. And they're going to come in and they fight the government, and they're going to get rid of this government, and they implement Sharia law in the government. And what's going to happen?
And to bring them to Islam to worship Allah. So the question I wanted to ask is, it says here the ultimate aim of fighting battles.
So the ultimate aim is not really to free anybody, as they say. That's deceptive. They claim that, that we are fighting to free people, but the ultimate aim is to bring them to Islam. So you see, they're not fighting for you to be free. They're fighting to take you to Islam. And when they fight to take you to Islam, if you don't want Islam and you don't want to follow their laws, guess what they do? They kill you. They kill you. They kill you. If they say, you're not supposed to do this and you do it, they kill you. So how are they better than your oppressor? How are they better than your oppressor? I want to zoom in on this on another time, because this is very deceptive. What you see right here is a very deceptive writing.
Was to save people from the worship of idols.
I wouldn't necessarily agree. That could be a reason. There are different reasons, many different reasons. You can fight a battle in self-defense. Doesn't mention that there. You can fight a.
So why are you talking about self-defense when this is not talking about self-defense? It's not talking about self-defense.
You can fight a battle actually for dawah as well.
So you're fighting a battle for dawah. Can you imagine? You're going to go and fight a person to spread Islam.
So did you hear what Paul said? You can fight a battle, jihad, for dawah. Let's continue. And this brother here, never seen him before. I don't know his name, but may the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob comfort and bless him. Well done for catching this. And he asked, well, we'll continue.
So, what the dawah is spreading the knowledge of Islam. If, for example,
So you could fight people just because you want to spread the knowledge of Islam. What a beautiful religion. I've never seen a religion so beautiful. If I was in Jamaica and I have my sewing machine, I would sew Islam together and make a beautiful Caribbean shirt out of it, because it's so beautiful, man. It's like a floral piece of linen, a garment. Is good to make a nice shirt, and you wear like a khaki shorts or a white shorts with it while you're in Jamaica on the beach. I've never seen anything so beautiful. I would take Islam, put it on this sewing machine, cut it up a little bit, and cut it out into a nice pattern, and then I sew it on the sewing machine and make it into a shirt so I could wear it on the beach, because it's so beautiful. It has so many colors.
if you had the
Fight a battle for dawah, which means
to open up a land. If a land is refusing to allow Muslims to operate and to proclaim the truth about Islam,
do you see that? If a land is not allowing Muslim to open, is not opening up and allowing Muslim to proclaim Islam, they could fight that land. Do you see? I'm telling you, if I don't see it, my son will see it. I'm telling you, because it's not far coming. You're going to see the wickedness of Islam in the West in a short time. You're already seeing it, the deception. But what you're going to see is the wickedness of Islam. Do you hear? Do you hear what this guy just said?
And fight that country to open it up, to allow Muslims in, to proclaim the truth about Islam.
So you could fight that country and allow Muslim in so it could become Islamic country. Do you see the guy? Look at the guy's face. He said, what? Look at this guy right here. You're looking at him like, man, did you hear what he said, bro? Oh, man. Wow.
okay, so let me just understand that. So you're saying a particular land, if it's not open up, so for a particular country, a Muslim wants to go into that country and proclaim Islam.
Yeah. If it's persecuting, oppressing Muslims and won't allow them to do dawah in that country.
So you see that persecuting a Muslim is not allowing them to do dawah. Muslims believe that persecution is not allowing them to do dawah. Not allowing them to indoctrinate their people is persecution. It's persecution. Not allowing them to indoctrinate their people is the persecution that give them the right to attack a country and take it over. And look at what happened to Christian in Egypt. Look at what happened in Christian in Pakistan. Look at what happened to Christian in Somalia and all over. Do you see that? Do you see that? But what is the goal of preaching Islam in any way? Islam have a goal to be number one in the world. Because what did the surah, what did the Quran says? The Quran says, fight them until God, a religion, is supreme. I can't remember what verse that is. Fight them until God religion. Yep. Surah 8 verse 39. And if you look at the many translation of this verse, you will see the difference in how they translate it. It says, fight them until there is no more fitna, until the religion, this is Sai International, until the religion, all of it is for Allah. And if they cease, then indeed Allah is seeing of what they do. So notice that. Fight them until there is no fitna. You look at this verse here and you wonder what fitna mean. And you're going to see the lies. You're going to see some lies. Pickthall. Fight them until there is no persecution. So they say there is no persecution. So persecution of a person can be like, oh, you are from a foreign country and we don't want you to come to our country and spread Islam. But you can come and you can practice your religion in peace in your own private home or in your mosque. But you cannot go in public and preach your religion. That's persecution, according to what the gay Muslim just said. And here we go again. Fight them until there is no turmoil. So this one says until there is no turmoil or oppression. That's what this one says. This is Yusuf Ali. But look at this. As we go down, fight them until there is no more persecution. That is Shakir. Muhammad Sawar. Fight them until idolatry will not exist anymore. So fitna, according to Muhammad Sawar, is idolatry. And do you remember what the guy say in the beginning when he was reading the book? He says a way of they're fighting because they will go in and fight to get rid of idolatry. So according to what we read so far, Muhammad Sawar translation seems like it makes more sense than anyone. Because look at this. And use your brain when you read the Quran. Watch this. Fight them until there is no more fitna, disbelief, or polytheism, i.e., worshipping of others other than Allah. This is Mushin Khan. Now tell me which make more sense. If I say fight them until there is no more persecution and God's religion is entirely. Let's read it again from Sai International. Does this make any sense to you? Fight them until there is no, let's Shakir. Okay, Pickthall. Fight them until there is no more persecution, and persecution until persecution is no more. And religion is all for Allah. Does that make any sense? No, it don't. Because you could fight someone and there is no persecution at all. But religion is not all for Allah. Christian could live among Muslims without any persecution at all. But religion does not belong all for Allah. So, what does fitna really mean? Fitna actually means idolatry or disbelief or worshipping other than Allah. That's what fitna means. Because if he says fight them until there is no more disbelief, polytheism, worshipping other than Allah, and then all religion will belong to Allah, then that makes sense. Because if you wipe out all the other religion and then all religion belong to Allah, then that make more sense than to say fitna mean persecution. No, fitna doesn't mean persecution. All you got to do is use your brain. Fitna could never mean persecution if all religion will belong to Allah, because there can be people in a geographical region that is not persecuting Muslims, but they still want to keep their religion. But they're not persecuting Muslims. They leave the Muslim alone. So when Muhammad Sawar said fight until there is no more idolatry, it makes sense. Because Muslims consider anything that is not Allah, that is worship that is not Allah, they consider it idolatry. So when you say fight until there is no idolatry and God's religion will stand supreme, it makes more sense. All the others make no sense. Like the one that says fight until there is no persecution is no more, and religion is all for Allah, which is Piqtal, make no sense. And this one that says Yusuf Ali, that say fight until there is no more turmoil or oppression, and there prevail justice and faith in Allah all together and everywhere. That doesn't make sense either. That doesn't make sense, because it says if there prevail justice and faith in Allah all together everywhere. What if there is Christian, then there would be no faith in Allah? Do you see? It doesn't make any sense. The Christians don't have faith in Allah. Shakir, fight until there is no persecution and religion should be only for Allah. Does that make no sense? No, it doesn't. Because religion may not be only for Allah, but there still can be no persecution. So this doesn't make any sense at all. So what they were telling the people, what the Quran is telling Muslims, and this is why they understand it like this, this is why they want to persecute people, is that you should fight people until they have no religion at all. Only religion is Islam. Literally. The only religion is Islam. And this is why the jizya come in. The jizya is to make people feel humiliated to the point where if you are so humiliated and you cannot pay the jizya that they charge, because jizya can be anything. There is no ruling on how much a jizya can be. So jizya on people, you know, and living as a second-class citizen, being oppressed by the Muslim, can lead people who are not strong in faith to convert to Islam. Anyway, my people have been going on for a while. It's one thing when you get into these, you will go and go and go. Anyway, man, it's time to end this. So, what we are seeing here, and what I want to say here, man, Islam have an agenda, and the agenda is to take over the world and to persecute people, to deal with people with hatred and evil to the point where they would kill people for their belief.
Then the country.
No, but if they're not persecuting the Muslims, or they just told them we don't want you to.
I think if you look at the example of the Roman Empire and the Persian Empire at the time, because they were.
What does this have to do with Roman Empire and Persian Empire? The guy was talking about Islam, and then all of a sudden, let's go to the Persian Empire and the Roman Empire. This is not talking about Persian Empire. This is not at the past. This is talking about the future things. And you're talking about the Persian Empire and all these empires. This, why are you going back to these things?
This brother is brilliant. Paul said, if they're persecuting them and not allowing them to perform dawah, and this brother said, well, if the country doesn't persecute them, but just tells them, we don't want you to propagate Islam, to perform dawah. And what did Paul do? He got stuck. He knew he was put in a corner. Brilliant by this brother. Excellent. So what does he do? He just goes on to a different topic. I'm going to rewind it and listen to it. The brother goes, dawah, what's dawah? And he tells him, you know, preaching, spreading the word, the faith of belief, whatever Paul says, of Islam. And listen to for yourself again.
Of fighting battles was to save people from the worship of idols.
I wouldn't necessarily agree. That could be a reason. There are different reasons. Many different reasons. You can fight a battle in this.
No, that's the reason. According to the Quran verse that I just read, you see how that the person who wrote that book interpret the Quran. Fight until there is no more idolatry. That's what Surah 8, verse 38 is saying. Fight until there is no more idolatry, or fight until there is no more disbelief or polytheism or worshipping of others other than Allah. So we see that Muhammad Sawar and Mushin Khan actually understand exactly what the Quran was saying. You fight people for their belief. So Muslims are not comfortable. They will never be comfortable until the point where they can fight you because of your belief. Where they can come into America and Canada and the United States and fight you because of your belief. Fight you because of what you believe. Kill homosexual. Kill these people. Kill these people. See, we are living in a world today where the great Almighty God see what the world was going to become. And he said to us, abide by the law of the land. He says, hey, follow the law of the land. But he actually tell us to let the law of the land reign. That's what he was saying. He wasn't telling us, to promote homosexuality and be immoral in no way. He said, he was telling us to let the law of the land reign. Let it, allow it to do its course. Because what? The great Almighty God, who have foreknowledge of all things, he saw what the world was going to be. And he know that Christian justice would never be able to run the world. But the idiot who is the God of Islam cannot see that. He cannot see that there is never going to be a time when Muslim will totally control America. Maybe Great Britain, because Great Britain is like a soft soap place. Like, you know, those, when you get a bar of soap and you put it into and you forget to take it out of the tub that you take a bath in. And when you go back, when you remember, oh, wow, 2 hours later, you go back, you said, man, I forget the soap in the water. When you dip into the water like this and take the soap up, guess what happened? Or when you clean in the tub and letting the water out to clean the tub, you do like this. The soap is soft. That's how Great Britain is. But America, even though the government might be acting soft, they got some guys over here that ain't gonna be soft with you. They got some hillbillies, and when I say it, it's not when I say hillbilly, I'm not using a racist term, because Americans are calling themselves hillbilly. So don't think that I'm calling American hillbilly. No, there are people here who call themselves hillbilly. I'm a hillbilly from Kentucky. You hear them say that. They say that to me several times. So when I say hillbilly, I don't want nobody to say, hey, oh, he was calling white people hillbilly. No, I'm not calling white people hillbilly. I'm talking about real hillbilly who identify as hillbilly. They ain't gonna play with you. They're coming out with weapons bigger than the army. And they ain't gonna take nobody run over them. Because they don't live in that world and they don't live in that concept. So guess what's gonna happen? Guess what's gonna happen? Turmoil in the world. But the great God Almighty, who is above all gods, as I always begin and end most of my podcasts, I always begin and end all praises to the triune God, the God who is above all gods. The God who is above all God know that there is no time on the face of the earth without persecution and evil where Christian law could rule this world. So he told us, allow the secular to do the secular. Allow the government to do what they do. Because guess what? You can never, ever, ever have peace in any given society without allowing freedom. No, you cannot have peace in the world in today's day. I'm not talking about back in the days. I'm talking about today's day. You can never have any peace without allowing the secular to reign. No. And if you notice what God did, he found the United States and Britain and all these nations, he established them with certain law so that his people can live in peace. And he told us to pray for our leaders so that they won't persecute us. So they will have a mind not to persecute us. But you look at the idiotic, stupid God of Islam and see the total opposite. The God of Islam is such a dumb donkey that he cannot see that, hey, you cannot rule the Western world like that. You may be able to control your Islamic world because that's the culture that they grow up in. But this world here, you can come here with that BS. And they don't see that. But that's why they're subtly doing some things, Andrew Tate, and going after Jordan Peterson and other people, because they're slowly trying to control the mind of the people. The mind of the people, so that they can engraft themselves into where they're not supposed to be. In order to uproot things, they're diligently seeking to transform certain people to their ideology so that they could influence other people to be transformed to their ideology. And the more people, so more intellectual people kind of gravitate towards Jordan Peterson. So Muhammad Hijab target Jordan Peterson. And he was targeting Andrew Tate because more deviant mind gravitate towards Andrew Tate. And because Muhammad Hijab is a thug at heart, but he's a thug who know how to conduct himself as if he's not a thug because he's deceptive. So when he come to Jordan Peterson, he come in as a wolf in sheep clothing in a certain sense. But then when he's dealing with certain people, he deal with it on a certain level. Because if you notice when in his interview, he said it was very hard for him not to lash out on Jordan Peterson. It was very hard for him to restrain himself talking to Jordan Peterson. The wolf in him, it was very hard for him to restrain the wolf that he is. But he played nicely. And something happened on his last interview with Jordan Peterson that a Christian brother called Purdue, I can't remember what his name is, have a French name, I think he's from Canada, was on the podcast, and it might be God's intervention that the guy was there. I have a feeling it might be God's intervention. Anyway, that's mine. But anyway, what I'm trying to say, man, is that we need to be looking out and need to warn the people. And then we say, oh, this is a conspiracy theory. But notice the last brother in the video, he was reading from an Islamic book. So you can't say these are conspiracy when Islam is governed by their own books. And you hear a Western Muslim answering him and telling him what he understands from it, what he is getting from it, that you can attack people who don't allow you to indoctrinate their people to cultivate a deviant mind within their people, a mind that believes that women should be beaten, a mind that believes that women are less intelligent than men, a mind that believes that it is okay for you to have more than one woman, a mind that believes that it's okay for you to kill people who talk bad about Muhammad. Because do you notice what Muhammad Hijab says? We can't stop the Muslim thugs. Can you imagine? Muhammad Hijab is speaking like this. In a society like ours today, what do you think that it would be if Muslim become 25% of the United States population? How do you think that they would talk? How do you think that they would talk if they are 45% of the population? How do you think that they would talk if they are 50% of the population? How do you think that they would talk if they are 60% of the population? How do you think that they would talk if they are 51% of the population? How do you think that they would talk if one day they have a Muslim president? How do you think they would talk if you are talking like this in a world where people are held responsible for their action? The America court is not going to let you just go about beating up people and kicking people down and cutting up people and killing people. If you can say, oh, we can stop the Muslim gangsters from doing, don't you think we have Muslim gangsters? We have Muslim gangsters too. If you go to Colombia and say anything about the drugs cartel, so he likening Islam to a drugs cartel. And what does a drugs cartel do? They come and destroy your neighborhood. They destroy their own neighborhood and turn the people's mind into deviant mind. And the people who doesn't want to be deviant, they have to keep their mouth shut. And if they speak, you remember the Colombian necktie? Have you ever heard about the Colombian necktie? Where they would cut people's throat and take their tongue to. Have you ever heard about that? Be mindful of Islam and stay away from Islam. I know I've been going on for a long time, but let's end it here. And I want to end it with all praises due to the triune God, the God who is above all gods, the God who gives us wisdom to decipher things that to make sense of sensible things and to make nonsense of things that are nonsense. And as far as I'm concerned, Islam is nothing but pure nonsense. I want to end it with this. Walk safe, talk safe, and don't forget to keep your life 100% Jesus. So whether you live or die, you will be safe. And I want to say thank you guys for coming out and listening to this Jamaican. Sometimes I talk a little bit too much, but that's the nature anyway. And I will get to watch some Moon podcast tonight when I'm at work, and whoever I didn't watch while I was talking, because I do watch everybody. And so I just want to say, man, we have to be serious, you know. So anyway, my people, God bless you and be safe out there.